Chuck Schumer claims to be a great friend of Israel. Don't believe a word he says. The speech he made to the Senate is so horrible, he stabbed Israel in the back in front of the world. I want to thank Will Johnson and his producer Shannon for sending me the unbelievably horrific, embarrassing news from early this morning. The Johnsons sent me a speech by Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader. I'm embarrassed to say he's Jewish, and when you watch his speech, you're going to see why he is an embarrassment. Let's start with the speech, then we'll discuss it. This was on the Senate floor this morning, courtesy of the Johnsons.
The fourth major obstacle to peace is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has all too frequently bowed to the demands of extremists like Ministers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and the settlers in the West Bank. I have known Prime Minister Netanyahu for a very long time. While we have vehemently disagreed on many occasions, I will always respect his extraordinary bravery for Israel on the battlefield as a younger man. I believe in his heart he has his highest priority is the security of Israel. However, I also believe Prime Minister Netanyahu has lost his way by allowing his political survival to take the precedence over the best interests of Israel. He has put himself in coalition with far-right extremists like Ministers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, and as a result, he has been too willing to tolerate the civilian toll in Gaza, which is pushing support for Israel worldwide to historic lows. Israel cannot survive if it becomes a pariah. Prime Minister Netanyahu has also weakened Israel's political and moral fabric through his attempts to co-opt the judiciary. And he has shown zero interest in doing the courageous and visionary work required to pave the way for peace, even before this present conflict. As a lifelong supporter of Israel, it has become clear to me the Netanyahu coalition no longer fits the needs of Israel after October 7th. The world has changed radically since then, and the Israeli people are being stifled right now by a governing vision that is stuck in the past. Nobody expects Prime Minister Netanyahu to do the things that must be done to break the cycle of violence, to preserve Israel's credibility on the world stage, and to work towards a two-state solution. If he were to disavow Ministers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and kick them out of his governing coalition, that would be a real meaningful step forward.
I don't think I've ever heard such arrogance, and I mean that word, from a member of the U.S. Congress in my life. He is literally saying to the democratically elected head of our closest ally in the world, you are terrible and don't deserve to lead anymore because I've decided what's best for your country. And to top it all off, he talks about being a lifelong supporter of Israel. In Yiddish, which is the ancient Eastern European Jewish language, there's a special word I'm going to teach all of you, which is shanda. And what it means is disgrace. A disgrace to your family, a disgrace to your people, a disgrace to your religion. Chuck Schumer is that. Chuck Schumer is a shanda. He's an embarrassment and a disgrace to everything he holds sacred, including the United States Senate. Now, before we talk about it, I want to show you a classy response that was written and presented right after Schumer's speech from somebody who we don't normally shout out as being great, but boy, did he deliver this morning. This is Senator McConnell responding to Senator Chuck Schumer.
The Jewish state of Israel deserves an ally that acts like one. People of Israel, at home and in captivity, deserve America's support. And Israel's unity government and security cabinet deserve the deference befitting a sovereign democratic country. primary obstacles to peace in Israel's region are genocidal terrorists like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, who slaughter innocent people and corrupt leaders of the Palestinian Authority who have repeatedly rejected peace deals from multiple Israeli governments. And foreign observers who cannot keep these clear distinctions ought to refrain from weighing in. It is grotesque and hypocritical for Americans who hyperventilate about foreign interference in our own democracy to call for the removal of a democratically elected leader of Israel. This is unprecedented. We should not treat fellow democracies this way at all. Things that upset left-wing activists are not a prime minister's policies. There is Israel's policies. Make no mistake, the Democratic Party doesn't have an anti-Bibi problem. It has an anti-Israel problem. Israel is not a colony of America whose leaders serve at the pleasure of the party in power in Washington. Only Israel's citizens should have a say in who runs their government. This is the very definition of democracy and sovereignty. Either we respect their decisions or we disrespect their democracy.
What gives Chuck Schumer the nerve, the audacity to say that Israel, he's going to decide what Israel is going to do in their elections? Who gives Chuck Schumer that right? And the crazy thing about all of this, when Israel was first attacked on October 7th, Chuck Schumer, he ran out there in D.C. and got on the microphone, acting like he was there and being a champion for Israel, just to turn his back on him. Now, I'm not sitting here tooting my own horn, but I've had this conversation multiple times with multiple people. And I was saying that I don't trust Chuck Schumer. If Chuck Schumer is saying he's coming out and supporting Israel, I don't believe him. The only reason why Chuck Schumer is trying to act like he's supporting Israel is because they want the funding. They want money. You always hear how they're trying to make this association with Jewish people and money. You hear that all the time. Just like white people have a lot of money, black people, there are a few out there, mind you. There are a few people that are black that have money, but there's Jewish people that have money too. And they're wanting them to pour the money into them. That's the only reason why Chuck Schumer was saying it. But this is like a whole completely 180 for Chuck Schumer when it comes to Israel. And the reason being is because Chuck Schumer, he's giving in to the radical left. Chuck Schumer is acting like the radical left is more important what they want than what the American people want, or even the needs of our greatest ally in Israel. That's the problem here.
Mitch
McConnell.
Mitch McConnell had it
Yes.
right. Thank you. He may be 150 or 200 years old. I don't know. But somebody wrote him a great speech. And if Mitch wrote it himself, high five, God bless you, Mitch McConnell. We have no right to tell a sovereign nation who should be running their government.
Right.
We ignore slaughters all over the world on a daily basis. This is a democracy. This is who they elected. These are the heads of the country. There's a unity government where representatives of all the parties are there. If you notice, Chuck wants to kick out two ministers that he doesn't like. He just decided they're no good, so they should be released and Bibi should fire them out of the cabinet. The audacity is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like somebody knocking on your door and saying, hey, tell your wife to dress differently. Or, I don't like the way you're raising your kids. You'd say, get out of my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Just go away. Who the hell are you?
Or they come in there and tell you what foods you can have in your refrigerator.
Yeah. I mean, it's just as crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And just the whole point that Chuck Schumer can fix his mouth to even utter those words. And the biggest thing, Barry, he called Israel He said Israel's becoming a pariah. Really? So what? I mean, Barry, I want to know, what does Benjamin Netanyahu has to say about this? What are the the Israeli officials have to say about Chuck Schumer? Now, if I was them, I would say tell Chuck Schumer to shut up.
Well, the comments right before we came on, I was reading the Israeli news out of Jerusalem, and they're all saying they're in shock that an American elected official has the audacity to tell the elected officials in Israel who should be in government and who shouldn't. It's unreal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unparalleled, and it's unreal.
Yeah, it really is. Like they feel so emboldened. They feel so empowered that they can tell other countries what they should do and what they can't do.